Global inequality is a persistent issue that continues to shape the world's political and economic landscape. The recent Summit of the Future raised critical questions about global governance and whether the focus should remain on great power competition or on addressing institutional imbalances that exacerbate inequality. In this video, we will explore the summit's outcome, the structural challenges that perpetuate global inequality, the future directions for the global governance. The Summit of the Future resulted in several important initiatives, including the Global Digital Impact Initiative and the Declaration on Future Generations. These initiatives aim to inspire nations' action and foster international cooperation, particularly in emerging areas like technology and digital governance. The Global Digital Impact Initiative seeks to ensure equitable access to digital technologies, a critical component in bridging inequality in the modern world. However, while these initiatives are important, the summit also highlighted several ongoing challenges in global governance. One of the most contentious issues was the lack of a clear pathway for Security Council reform. Developing nations, particularly from the global south, continues to express dissatisfaction with the current structure, which favors a few great powers and leaves many developing countries without significant influence in the decision making. While there is an increasing recognition of the need to address inequality, the practical support provided to developing nations remain inadequate. Pledges have been made to increase the voice of these nations in global financial institutions, but the reality is that many developing countries still struggle to have their concerns addressed effectively. This is evident in the economic disparities that persist, with the developing nation collectively carrying over $29 trillion in public debt. A significant part of this problem can be traced back to the historical imbalances noted or rooted in the colonialism. Institutions like G7, often seen as a club of former colonial powers, continue to shape the global agenda. This imbalance is compounded by the fact that despite the rise of nations like China and India within the BRICS framework, the global economic structure still favors the West. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are meant to guide the world towards the equitable development. However, as of today, only 70% of the SDGs are on track, indicating the struggle that developing countries face in achieving these goals. From healthcare to education to infrastructure, many of these nations are hindered by economic constraints and inadequate global support. The Summit of the Future recognized the need for a shift in how we measure prosperity. Instead of relying solely on traditional economic metrics like GDP, there is a growing call to include measure of sustainability and well-being. This broader perspective would reflect the true living standards in a country, taking into account not just economic growth but also infrastructure, healthcare, education, and environmental sustainability. As the global power dynamics shift, there is an increasing recognition of the role of global south, particularly Asia, in shaping future global governance. While the West continues to hold significant influence, Asia's rising economic power signals a need for the greater involvement of countries like India and China in decision making at the global level. One of the key areas where this is particularly important is in emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. Ensuring that Asian countries have a strong voice in how global AI governance is shaped is crucial to ensuring that their priorities are reflected in future frameworks. Bridging the global inequality gap is a complex challenge that requires coordinated efforts across multiple sectors. With respect to EPSC preparation, understanding the structural inequalities that persist in the global governance and the roles of institutions like G7, BRICS, and the importance of framework like SDG is vital. As future policymakers, it is essential to recognize the need for more inclusive governance structure that give developing countries a stronger voice and ensure that global cooperation addresses the root cause of inequality.